Thanks for joining us. Okay, are we ready to get started? Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
401.
Our fancy flag. High tech. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Tracy, can we have roll call?
Absolutely. Commissioner Esser, Commissioner Monet,
Yes.
Chair Rodriguez-Newton.
I am present. Thank you. Moving to public comment.
Open comments will be accepted during a meeting in person or remotely through Zoom. Public comments in person will be taken first, followed by speakers on Zoom. You will be called on by name to speak when it is your turn. If you wish to speak to the commission, please fill out a speaker slip located near the conference room door. If you have anything that you wish distributed to the commission and included in the official record, please hand it to the staff person for the Parks Department, who will distribute the information to the commission members and staff. For speakers on Zoom, please use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to speak for an item. When the chair calls on public comment, click on raise hand. Speakers will be notified shortly before they are called to speak. You will be provided ability to unmute your microphone and begin speaking. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes. I have no speaker slips for this item, and I am seeing no hands raised from Zoom.
Okay, last call for public comment. 30 seconds. Okay, let's move on to item 4, action to set the agenda and approve the October 2nd meeting minutes.
Second.
Any comments or discussion?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And thank you, Tracy, for preparing those minutes. Item 5 is reports and presentations, and we are starting with our Parks Foundation bi-monthly report.
Good afternoon, everyone. LB with the San Mateo County Parks Foundation. So last time I came to all of you, I spoke about Memorial Park Nature Center. I believe the 3D topographic map has gone in or will be going in soon, the final centerpiece. So we'll keep you posted on when there's going to be a ribbon cutting, but at this point it will be in 2026. But we've been focusing on Memorial Park because it turned 100 last year for the last couple of years, and we will continue to support Memorial Park however it is needed, but we're going to be shifting our focus to Coyote Point a little bit more. We have had our hazard tree fund focused on the eucalyptus trees and cleaning up the storm debris. And we also funded a foosball and ping pong set that's going in near the eucalyptus picnic area. But we want to do more, including actually plant trees to replace the ones that have been removed. And we also released our Park Ranger Grant Program earlier in October, and the first request we got was for Coyote Point. So that will be coming before our board next week. So we'll be focusing on Coyote Point, which is really great. That's where our office is, and it's the second most visited park in the park system and definitely deserves a little bit of love and attention. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that our third round for our San Mateo County Park poster project will be released in January. We delayed it by 6 months just because we were always sending our artists out in the fall, and we want to send them out in the spring this time. So we're going to be doing Coyote Point, Double Slide, and Sam McDonald Park. So when we release that in January, we'll try to make sure that the word is put out so that all of you and beyond can invite the artists in your life to apply. And it's open to any artists in the 9-county Bay Area and Santa Cruz County. So that is my update. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions from the commissioners?
Have a good one.
I got one. Thank you. Thank you that the probably most coveted park in the Bay Area, the most visited park, one of the most beautiful parks. Not only because it's near a golf course, not only because it's all access to highways. This is a big move, like we're talking big, not just from the family side, visitors. It's going to increase revenue. More families will throw parties and kids picnics and I would say any time of the week, whether it's a Monday or a Friday, more so weekends will be more coveted for families. That this is like really genius that you and the umbrella of the county are now thinking of, like the bigger picture of investing not only revenue, but community, mental health awareness, having fun, just kids of all ranges, young adults with the whole foosball and frisbee and you know, and the fact that can you or do you know, is there a new grant or fund that's gonna be coming from any of the elected leaders that are gonna pour in any more money to Coyote Point? Cause I'm assuming this is very costly as well.
Well, that would definitely be more of a question for Nicholas, and we're sort of following the county's lead because there has been a lot of attention focused on Coyote Point, especially with money coming in from Magic Mountain. But yes, I would agree with you that Coyote Point is a wonderful place to focus attention because there are a lot of community events. That's where Summerfest has been held. We're now doing a monthly parents and babies meetup at Coyote Point. So it is very centrally located with lots of parking, so it just makes it an ideal spot for lots of events. So it gets a lot of attention, just like Memorial Park did, and it just makes sense to focus. But I think in terms of other investments, that's a great question for Nicholas.
Remember the grant that you received was for the frisbee golf.
So that's going before our board next Thursday, and that would be for disc golf, a 9-hole disc golf.
I was not.
I know, I get, there's a lot of
I
different.
know, and so yeah, so we are putting millions of dollars into the playgrounds at Coyote Point. But I think what excites me the most is this disc golf proposal, which would be for 9 holes. And as you were talking, I was like, you know what we need to do is we need to get I don't know if Tyler works on Thursdays, but we need to get.
Doesn't, I offered that,
doesn't?
yeah, he's gonna be on vacation.
Well, I might get him. I might get him to see if we can maybe have him swap it or something. Come to the commission meeting and talk about it. Tyler Bonson is a Ranger 2 in Coyote Point, and the disc golf was his idea. And it was, you know, we went out to have a conversation with them and asked, as the playground's down, do we want to try something that offsets the recreation impact of having the playground down? And everyone was kind of looking at each other, and then Tyler goes, all right, I'm gonna say it. He goes, we need a disc golf court. And like, you know, the energy he brought to the table, he had talked with the course designers, he put a whole proposal together. I was so impressed. I am so impressed. And what excites me the most about it was this was coming from the field. This was someone who works in the park, you know, every day and says, you know what we need, this is what we need. And so I love this idea. I'm so excited about it. And so, you know, one way or another, we will get these 9 holes in. You know, we're gonna have to do a little tweaking. But I thought he'd laid out a remarkable proposal. I'm very excited. I'll have to figure out how to get Tyler here. And you will absolutely love him. He just has so much energy and excitement. So
It's an understatement.
yeah, it really is. It really is. And again, he's a remarkable reflection of the people we have in this department. And so, you know, we're going to continue to push for new ideas out at Coyote Point. We are exploring things like temporary pump tracks. We're looking at basketball. We're evaluating everything that needs to be evaluated right now. So over time, we will continue to pump more and more into Coyote Point until it gets to the point that, you know, it really can fulfill all of its potential.
How about throwing flag football? Why don't you?
We can certainly evaluate that as well.
Something.
There's a place at Coyote Point where disc golf is, say, practical, just given the amount of wind that there is out there.
You know, we're certainly going to try it. So we'll I think Tyler laid out a great proposal that keeps the holes up at the Knoll area.
Okay.
And so we've been able to really limit cross trail holes, which I think is really important. No one's expecting to get hit with a frisbee when you're walking through the park. But I will also say, like, I've seen plenty of parks pull this off where it does cross paths. And so we'll have to see how it responds to the wind. That's, I think that's one of the things that excites me the most is when we try these new things. I can't guarantee they're gonna work. I mean, I couldn't guarantee that anything we did at Flood Park was gonna work either. We couldn't guarantee that Huckleberry Flat was gonna be a success, right? So that's what excites me the most is you put a lot of work into it and then you wait and see how people respond to it. So I think that's a great question. We're all gonna find out together.
Sounds good.
Well, I'm excited to see the watershed model at Memorial Park too, because the interpretive center is really beautiful now, but that's gonna really be amazing, and definitely want to make that an event for the community. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and they just upgraded the lighting at the nature center and it looks really good. It's a little softer and yeah, excellent.
And some taxidermy just. As a plan.
Any public comment addressing item 5.1?
We don't have any speaker slips for this item. I do have one hand raised in Zoom. Ella?
Hi, I'm the youth commissioner from SMCYC. I love that you guys are renovating Coyote Point. My only concern is the Environmental Advocacy Subcommittee is hosting a bus project at Coyote Point on the January 24th and 25th. How will that interfere with our project or your project?
Ella, I'm sorry, did you say a bus project?
Yes. Basically we are going to have people coming to Coyote Point and they were going to like experience nature and try and learn about sustainability, but the whole aspect of it was we wanted to create something that no one had ever really like seen before. So we are going to have these people coming in like a bus that the county provided.
Ella, I would love to continue this conversation with you, maybe offline. I'm not, this is the first time hearing of this. I can't really provide an informed response, but would certainly really enjoy an opportunity to continue this conversation. And it sounds like a really awesome idea. So we'd love to see how the department can support it as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Let me give you a.
I have her contact.
Perfect. We will reach out to you, Ella.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ella.
That sounds great.
Okay, I have no other.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Item 5.2, SMC Parks presentation on the integrated pest management report for 2024.
And so we have Evan here today. Before I introduce Evan, I do want to introduce Tim Fox. So Mr. Fox is our counsel for tonight's meeting. And we are very, very lucky to have him with us. I've worked with him for a very long time and he has certainly gotten me out of many pickles. But more importantly, he is just a treasure to work with. And I feel fortunate to have him here with us today. So Tim, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And so we have Evan here. Evan Cole is our natural resource manager, and Evan's going to be presenting on the Parks Department's integrated pest management report. This is the second year that we've done this report, and one thing I will say is a lot of thought went into how we structure this report, and what is just remarkable to me is how much work this department really gets done, how much work Evan and his team get done, how much work the parks operations staff gets done in the field. And I think when you start looking at the numbers, you will be thoroughly impressed as well, especially when compared to last year's numbers. So this is both me saying thank you to the teams for putting so much effort into stewarding our parks. And Evan, thank you to your team for putting this report together.
Of course.
So turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This is actually my first Parks Commission meeting. So sorry it's taken this long. I've been with the County Parks Department since 2020, and I've been Natural Resource Manager since 2022. And so this is a brief summary of the IPM report, and it's posted online, so I encourage all of you to take a look. and there's a link at the end of the presentation too. We're happy to share that with you each if you're interested. And yeah, you can go ahead. So I'll start off with just a general overview. You might have heard this before, but what IPM is and why we do it. So the San Mateo County Parks Department utilizes science-based integrated pest management, or IPM, to improve habitat quality, protect biodiversity, mitigate the risk of wildfire, and ensure safe recreation opportunities within the county park system. IPM is an effective ecosystem-based stewardship strategy that focuses on the efficient and long-term prevention of pests or their damage through a combination of techniques. So these include mechanical, cultural, biological, and chemical control methods. So for mechanical, think hand pulling weeds, mowing or brushing along trail sides, or using heavy machinery like a masticator to thin out a forest. Cultural involves a change in human behavior, like adding boot brushes at trailheads to get the seeds off, or just some kind of habitat manipulation like tarping or mulching to suppress weeds or prescribe burns. Biological, this is just like introducing another species to suppress the invasive species. We don't currently do that, but it's a tool in the toolbox. And then finally, chemical. This is herbicides, and herbicides are only used when other techniques are found ineffective or infeasible. Chemical treatments are always conducted in accordance with established regulations and guidelines and in a manner that minimizes risk to human health, beneficial and non-target organisms, and the environment. Next slide, please. Here we have a breakdown of gross acreages managed by treatment type. This includes fuels reduction projects, habitat restoration projects, and operational maintenance activities like trailside mowing. This does not include volunteer stewardship acres because we don't actually map that typically, but we do have a metric for that. It's volunteer hours worked, and I talk about that a little later in the presentation. Next slide. Thank you. So this graph, I wanted to show the infested acres that we managed during 2024, specifically for habitat enhancement projects. So not fuels reduction, not operational. This is just for habitat enhancement by the target species to give you an idea of the species that we are actually treating. And it's probably hard to read, but I will throw out a few of the main ones and talk a bit about them quickly. So just to call out some of the most significant ones in the pie chart, we have Bermuda buttercup, which is the really big green one on the left. That's also known as oxalis. It's a common annual invasive plant in grasslands and trail sites, comes up during the winter, and that's when we treat it. Andean pampas grass, also known as jubata grass. We're currently targeting that right now in our coastal parks and at San Bruno Mountain. Coyote brush, which is actually a native shrub, but we treat it like an invasive in places like San Bruno Mountain, where it's encroaching into grasslands and threatening endangered butterfly habitat. So we've been working to push it back and protect the remaining sensitive grassland habitat at San Bruno Mountain. Next slide, please. This is a breakdown of parks operations projects. So this is work, and this is by project objective. So like what we're trying to get done through the vegetation management activities. These are implemented by our rangers and our maintenance staff, such as trail brushing and mowing. As you can see, nearly half of these projects are at least partially intended to reduce the fuel load on the landscape and mitigate fire risk to the park and to neighboring communities. Of course, a lot of projects have multiple objectives. So a project that focuses on fuel hazards and fire risk reduction might also have habitat enhancement value. Other major priorities involve maintaining safe and accessible trails, pushing back poison oak, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. Here we show the average ounces per acre of each herbicide that we used in 2024 throughout the entire park system. The orange represents the maximum we're allowed to do according to the pesticide label, which is reviewed and approved by the EPA. And the blue is what we actually used for each herbicide in 2024. So we are, for the most part, way below that threshold of where we're allowed to go with it. So we try to, again, use herbicide only as really a last resort and always in line with the recommendations of the label and our pest control advisor, who is licensed by the state. And there's one more slide. Okay, here we have, I'm sure that's also a little difficult for you to read, but I will summarize it for you. In 2024, the department conducted vegetation management activities across 1,583 acres of parkland, including 100 miles of trail. We hosted 68 volunteer weeding events, which accounted for more than 4,400 volunteer hours. And we performed 6 large-scale fuel reduction projects across the county. This represents an increase of 654 acres when compared to 2023's numbers. So, again, this is just for 2024 calendar year, and this was only the second year we've done this IPM report, but we'll be doing another one for 2025 and showing the similar metrics at that Parks Commission meeting. And that's all. This is the cover of the report. That is the link to it. I'm happy to provide it to you separately, but I think the report largely speaks for itself, so I encourage all of you to take a look.
Thank you. Questions from commissioners?
Just a comment from myself, that's really impressive, the small amount of herbicide that, I mean, it's like a pint per acre or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
And part of how we're able to achieve that too is in some of the graphs, we mentioned gross acreage and then we mentioned infested acreage. So if there's like 1 gross acre where we treated, within that, there might only be like 0.1 acres of the actual plant we're trying to target. So the infested acreage is the actual treatment we did. So we might be doing 1 gross acre of treatment, but we're actually doing a very small subset of acreage of actual treatment.
That's great. Thank you.
And how many staff do you have?
Currently,
Oh, this was the conversation, yes. How many staff are you supposed to have?
so I lead the Natural Resource Management Division. I until about a month ago led a staff of 3 natural resource specialists, which are essentially biologists, 2 arborists, and then a rotating palette of seasonal field staff. Currently have 1 natural resource specialist and the 2 arborists.
And you treated, but, okay, so that the team that goes out and does the treatment, that's.
We have that capacity, but we mostly rely upon contractors that we engage with a pest control advisor. We get the pest control recommendations from them, and then we pass those along to our contractor who does the work under our supervision. So we, from the beginning of scoping the project with them in the field to overseeing the actual implementation and then checking their work afterwards with the contractor.
Also, just take a second to put a plug in for the RCD. The San Mateo Resource Conservation District does a lot of work with the Natural Resource Management team. And I think collect together, the two are just a unstoppable force. So, you know, we're very lucky. Evan, I don't know how he does it, but he pulls in just remarkable talent for his team. Very excited to see who he brings in to fill these positions. And then just and then does a great job of working with partner agencies to scope and implement projects.
And also really need to shout out to the operational staff, Scott's team. I talked a little bit about all the work they're doing, trail side mowing, brushing back of hazards like poison oak, keeping ticks away from people that are trying to use the trails, and helping to prevent some of that fire risk too. So they do a lot of the acreage, a lot of the work in the field, and they're out there every day. And we're just supplementing what they're doing with my team and our contractors. And then fuels reduction projects too. We have ongoing fuels reduction projects. And then of course, we have our volunteer coordinator, Stu, you may have met, who, has just tons of volunteers that he engages with and comes out to kind of work in parallel to a lot of what we're doing.
He's pretty thin. He also assists with his team. They do the biological monitoring on culvert replacements, on road work that we're doing. So they're running all the time and they do a great job. They keep our permits in check. They have to be on site to keep the biologists, make sure everything is done properly so we don't get in trouble. So they do a great job.
In terms of pests, are you seeing any changes? I know you've only been with the department for a few years. Are you seeing any changes in the types of pests that you're having to, not just in the invasive species of plants, but?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question. I'm sorry about this, but to start off with, part part of what we do in the field too is called EDRR, Early Detection Rapid Response. So there's a lot of invasives that are just barely in the county in like one spot, just noticed it this last year, or we're just on the lookout because they're in neighboring counties. So we try to really nip these species in the bud so that they don't turn into big problems where we have to exert all these resources to contain them. So that's a big part of it too. And there are species like oxalis that everyone's familiar with now, but look, 20 years ago, it wasn't in the Bay Area. We weren't really seeing it at the level it's at. And then as far as like successes, so we try to leverage our resources in areas we can actually make a change, because some places and some invasive species control is just not really an option. And so we try to look for where we have good habitat value, where it's worth protecting, where we can protect, and try to just, you know, keep the invaders back. And we've been pretty successful in places like Pillar Point Bluff used to be completely overrun with Jubata grass. Now we're just having crews out there last week, hand pulling here and there, just try to keep them down. But, you know, it's almost been eradicated entirely. And that allows for the coastal prairie to return. And so we see a lot of really great native species, native forbs coming back where before they were crowded out.
Any further questions from the commissioners?
No.
Let's open it up for public comment.
I have no speaker slips for this item and no hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you again, Evan. Really appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Evan. Appreciate you. Work put into this.
Let's move to item 6. 6.1 is to review the recommendation in support of San McDonald County Park nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. So in your agenda packet, commissioners, is a draft of a letter, which will be submitted if we approve it to the Board of Supervisors when the staff takes this item to the Board of Supervisors. It's just a general text, and I'm looking for first to open up any comments you may have. We addressed this in our last meeting.
No, I read through it and think it's fine. Brevity is good when going to the board, so this should work very well.
I like it. Great.
Are there any recommended changes?
No, not from me.
All highlighted and key important notes in the Board of Supervisors. We would appreciate any straightforward points that you put out.
I have to say, I really enjoyed writing the application packet. There's just a lot of great history in there, and, you know, history not only of San McDonald, but of the buildings. And it was kind of exciting, even though it was, I'm sure, kind of deep, very detailed, dry, technical stuff, but it was like, this is kind of exciting. So I really appreciate the work that was put in to make that application possible. I know it must have been. Okay, so any public comments on this item?
No speaker slips and I'm seeing no hands raised in Zoom.
The action would be then to whether we should approve this item to.
Absolutely.
Motion to approve the draft of the letter for presentation to the Board of Supervisors.
I'll second that motion to approve.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, motion passed.
Awesome, thank you. Item 6.2 is establishment of our 2026 meeting schedule, which is also attached in your agenda packet. This is the resolution to set our calendar, resolution. And you'll see that we followed the suggesting some of this similar cadence to this year, in that there are monthly meetings with 3 in-person on-site meetings at parks, hopefully coinciding with project completions significant project completions at each of these.
That's certainly my hope. Do you want me to elaborate on that?
please.
Okay, so you'll see in April, it's where the recommendation is to have an in-person meeting at Flood Park. Right now, substantial completion of the Flood Park playground is scheduled for March. So that would allow us to see that final product. Then in June, we are scheduled to be at Don Horsley County Park at Tunitas Creek Beach. Evan, since he was here talking about IPM, we didn't Scott, I think, hit on a lot of the things that they do. One of the things they've been working on is figuring out the permitting side of repairing the landslides at Tunitas Creek Beach, and they've really been able to work through a very complex situation to help us get to the point where we can actually start construction on that as soon as the designs are done. And so we're in the design phase right now. Construction will be about 3 months. And so it all depends on when we're able to start, which is gonna be based on, what kind of winter we get. But June, as of June, the original project will be, as of the end of this calendar year, the original project will be done. We'll just be waiting for the slides. So the slides won't impact our ability to tour the property. And the property itself will be accessible down to the mid bluff. So we won't have any accessible issues with the Brown Act requirements there. So we'll be clear there. And then in September's probably gonna be more of a construction site visit. Based on just kind of what's happening with the playground. We will certainly be in construction by then. But I don't foresee us being completed with the Coyote County Playground project by September. I would love to be proven wrong on this one, but I'm fairly confident in that. But you'll get to see a really awesome playground construction project. And we'll make sure that we keep it all within the perimeter accessible pathways so that we're compliant with all requirements.
Opening date to the public for Don Horsley Park,
TBD.
TBD, 2026.
Oh, definitely 2026.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and
But not
Late
like.
maybe, so
Yeah,
like a
late.
nice summer splash.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's gonna be April or May.
no, not likely, at
No,
least.
July, August.
Yeah, I mean, if we can hit June, July, I'll be very happy. One thing that's been great, and the California Coastal Conservancy deserves recognition. I guess as do the voters of the state with Prop 4, but we're working through a process and we've gotten verbal confirmation that we'll be able to access some Prop 4 funds for those repairs. So that's got to go to the Coastal Conservancy Board early next year, but their staff has been working on our behalf just tirelessly to free up funds so that we can get this project done.
It's great.
What's the scope of that financially? How much is all that gonna cost?
$1,815,000, I think is the last number I saw.
Most of that will come from the Conservancy.
About half of that will come from the Conservancy. And then the county executive and the board of supervisors deserve just as much recognition because they approved the remainder of the funding during the last budget process.
Any other questions on the proposed calendar?
Oh. Yes, actually, one other matter, thank you. One other matter that I do just want to bring to your attention. This building, because of changes in tenants, now the sheriff's office is pretty firm in a 5:30 departure from this building. So the question is, do we want to continue to start our meetings at 4 and go 4 to 5:30? Or do we want to try and move up the start and go say like 3:30,
3:30.
5:30?
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
I know that getting here at this hour can be tough, so I'm on campus, so I defer to the commissioners. And we will continue to explore other avenues as they may become available for different spaces, but I do just want to, as you know, the sheriff's office is very nice about coming in at like 5:29. So yeah.
Do we feel like an earlier meeting time would how would that impact?
Would it
Public?
hamper anyone?
Yeah, would it hamper anyone's ability to?
For us, I think it would be great because they want to be out early. We get a head start and there's more we could talk about.
Yeah, I'd rather have the option to have a 2-hour meeting.
There's a lot to talk about. And a
So,
lot to cover. So I wouldn't be opposed to 3:30 start.
3:30 to 5:30 is fine with me.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna ask council a question. So the resolution currently states 4 to 6. So then the commission can make a motion can be made to revise the resolution to change the start time from 4 o'clock to 3:30 and the end time from 6 to 5:30. So I'll just have to be part of the motion that is made and seconded. Is that correct?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, my next question is it odd to start public meetings on the half hour?
No.
Okay,
So through the chair, I would be highly recommended and make a motion to move forward and county council being present and the director of parks being present as our superintendent. And our San Mateo Foundation, Michelle being present. And with our chair currently to amend and now start moving forward in all possibilities of a 15:30 start instead of 1600. 15:30 to 17:30.
May want to use, does that work for you?
It's fine. If you're clear on the direction, it's fine.
Maybe I should reword the.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, I think
so the-
you're good, I'm good. For 2026, yeah.
And I'll second.
okay, so the recommendation is that the proposed calendar be adopted with the recommendation that we begin all 2026 meetings at 3:30. For 3:30 to 5:30.
All those in
Any-
favor?
Do I need to have any public comment?
Public comments.
You could ask for public comment, yes.
Public comment on our proposed 2026 meeting calendar?
I do have one hand raised in Zoom. Ella, if you could go ahead and unmute on your end.
Sorry, but I get out of school at 3:45. So if I were to like attend the meetings, I would probably just be zooming in half an hour late. Would that still be okay for you guys?
Absolutely.
No issue here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ella.
That was my concern.
These are all Thursdays, is that correct?
Yes, they are all Thursday stuff. All right, so the motion having been made and seconded, do you wanna go ahead and call for the vote?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay, motion passes.
awesome. We are item 6.3. This is an item just for discussion. Work plan review to prepare for the annual report to the Board of Supervisors. And this again is something that we talked about at the early beginning of the year, that we wanted to make sure that our Board of Supervisors had some kind of formal just delivery of what the commission has been doing, our priority, who we are, exactly, the opportunity to say, what we've been working on to them. So I'm not sure whether, we wanted to do this by the end of the year. I don't know that it has to be done by December. January is probably a good time to, pull it together. But what I wanted to do to introduce today, again, this is just an item for discussion, is the work plan is attached. And I would ask if there's any discussion about, in reflection of the goals that we set out earlier this year. How are we doing, again, with talking about the meetings? We want to increase the amount that we put on the agenda? Did we want to have more of these priorities addressed in each meeting? I mean, I'm open to, how do we do? And I'll open that up to both our commission, but also to staff to provide feedback. Go ahead.
Well,
It's fine.
So I think maybe just what I can offer is what the commission did in the past.
Thank you.
And let me go through our share drive and see if I can find a copy of the presentation. I'm sure the commissioners shared it. So at the time, the commissioners looked back, and because it had been several years since they were in front of the board, they looked back at all the initiatives they had been involved in, right? Specifically, the big ones were the dog work group, both on leash and off leash, the flood park project, and the Don Horsley County Park project. They then also highlighted kind of some of the recommendations they had passed to the board, which included recommendations around fire mitigation, the department's partnership with the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations. And so and then concluded by talking about some of the things they were hoping to accomplish. And I'd have to go back and look at this.
School field trips, if I may. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
help.
you please.
Cause I was, tagged along with, Commissioner Okello and, we, and even, past chair, Jorge Laguna. What we found was we kind of not necessarily did it empirical data, but we tried to increase park awareness. By what I mean by that is to increase more visitors, especially Cotty Point, looking at demographics, who's coming to the park. Children, teens, adults, multicultural background families, those who are able to attend, what sort of financial diversity from those of higher income, lower income, those who are able to drive, those how can we provide, let's say, school field trips or transportation to those people that want to come and, let's say, visit Coyote Point or Fitzgerald Marine or Redwoods or the parks and down the coast or down the peninsula. Who's coming to visit our parks? We focus on that, and we kind of looked at the age demographics versus nationality, multicultural ethnicities, and who's coming and how did they embrace their visit. I think that was something that Commissioner Okello and I did in past years since I've been on the commission.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is I have encouraged the commission in the past before going to the board to, one of the most common questions I have gotten is, does the department need more, right? Should we be going to the board and advocating? At the end of the day, it's up to the commission to decide what the message is that you want the board to receive. From my seat, I think the board has been extremely supportive of the department. I think the county executive has been extremely supportive of the department, making sure we have the resources we need, the funds we need, the staff we need. And so I always like to just make sure that I put that out there for the commission's consideration, because I do think it's important that the commission knows, and certainly that the board knows, that they've been extremely supportive of this department through all the things we've been working through, all of our projects and all the different ways we've been serving the community. So I do like to kind of throw that out there for your consideration, because I think it's important that the board has a chance to be recognized for what they are willing to do.
Trying to remember, Nicholas, how often do the department heads get in front of the board and give presentations? I know they have meetings that go on where
I think there's only one right now. Yeah.
where they go through all the departments. Is that quarterly, every 6 months?
No, so departments get in front of the board, what I would say is on an as needed basis.
Okay.
Every department has a scheduled set time to present during the budget process and during your performance process. And so that's that equates to essentially once a year, right? So because 1 year we'll do budget, the next year we'll do performance, the next year we'll do budget, next year we'll do performance. And then beyond that, it's on an as needed basis. When a project warrants their decision, if you're requesting a contract or a certain amount of funding, anything like that. When we went for their acceptance of our wildfire mitigation program, we went for them. So beyond budget and performance, it's an as needed basis.
Okay. So we'll set this up so there's no possibility of like redundancy between anything you may have pitched and then we come in a month or two later and
yeah. No,
our slides are the same or something. That would be a good look.
I do not have any known presentations in front of the board before February.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
That's why I said no. That's why I said no. I have none, no.
Right, Jim?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of different ways we can take this, and one is certainly, from my point of view, again, being there to express our gratitude that the board recognizes the importance of the Parks Department, not only as a natural resource asset, but in terms of county well-being and as a, an economic value for the county as well, because of the visitors that come from outside the county. So I think there's a lot of things we can say just kind of in that vein. I'm also wondering if as a commission, we're right now operating -2. And a lot of our work this year has, to me, seemed to focus on like learning about the partners, right? And trying to build these relationships. And I'm wondering if there's anything we want to offer to the Board of Supervisors in terms of how county commissions operate, or how we could, any recommendations or insights we could provide as to what we need as a commission. I think at one point we talked about, doing more with other parks and rec departments around city-based, around, to bring us all together, or understanding what other commissions do, like the youth commission, having that great relationship, the access and functional needs commission, increasing those relationships across commissions. So what do you feel?
So through the chair, I think, I'm gonna talk about you first of all. I think there's a lot of work that's still, I don't wanna say unfinished, but you've done so much for these 11 months trying to pinpoint and like you give me a coloring book and you're putting every right shade in every book from page 1 to page 100. I really believe that humbly. You've done so much now, whether that's emails or whether that's collaborating with department staff and appearing at all the offsite meetings. You've done a lot, and I think there's more to do. In other words, I think there's you came in this role as a commissioner. Your knowledge from the coast has brought a lot of a plethora of information. Now, I think December, now I don't know what the agenda is toward the end of the year. I know that this Board of Supervisors have their hands full with a lot of budgeting, what's going on currently within other departments within the county that they have decisions to make. So I don't know if December would be I think it would be a good idea, but I don't know how it's gonna play out, how they embrace us and accept us, or we're only gonna give you 2 seconds, bam, bam, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
We wanna be able to tell them who we are. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for our existence. I think that December wouldn't be a bad idea. I just don't know if their agenda is gonna allow us to come in for however long we present, and then that's the end of it. So January wouldn't be a bad idea, but maybe December would work for, given what their schedule is gonna be like. I don't know what their agenda is gonna look like.
I can certainly talk to the county executive's office and see if there's any big items.
Can they pencil us in?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's
I think there's 2 separate questions on the table, right? One is December a good time for the commission to go before the board, and can we get you on the agenda? I mean, yes, we can get you on the agenda in any
No
meeting
issue.
in December, any meeting in January. Which of those 2 months is a better time? I would have to consult with the county executive to ask. I'm just not aware of what is slated for those 2 months and which one would be a better.
This could lead into the next agenda item, but it would be nice if we had 5 commissioners when we go before the Board of Supervisors.
That's
Right.
not happening within
the
today or
months.
within next month.
No, I understand.
But I don't know what where you stand on this, Chair,
I would rather do it in January just so that we have another, we're just talking about this now, and I think we need another meeting to talk about the actual meat of whatever we're going to talk about and like have a structure and then finalize it. And yes, I think we can play that both ways. Like we can show up as three of us and go, well, we would have gotten a lot more done if we'd had a full commission.
Yeah.
Or
so I think, and I'm not, getting any, good kryptonite here in my ear. I'm just saying it'd be a new year, a new start,
Yeah.
a fresh year. Hoping for a additional commissioner, and I think January would be a good source, a good start, into a brand new year, 2026. Sounds good, 2026. And go before the board instead of trying to rush things, half coattail and not being fully embracing about it and thinking about it. In December, we would have enough time leading us up into the brand new year.
One thing I would just add, if all three of you would like to go, then you'll just need to give us a heads up, because we'll have to agendize it, since it's a.
We'd be on the program.
No, we would have to publish a Parks Commission agenda, correct? Since it's a quorum of the Parks Commission.
When the issue comes up, we can talk,
Okay.
because there are sometimes a basis for three commissioners to attend certain kinds of other public meetings or other
Okay.
public events without having to post an agenda, so long as they don't confer amongst themselves while at the meeting.
Okay.
So there's usually some basis for allowing it to happen.
Like Robert's rule,
Well, this is specifically the Brown Act.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Brown Act.
Okay. Once you all decide, let us know and we will work out the mechanisms for you.
Doesn't sound like December's gonna be it.
I'm just looking at, yeah, I would prefer not, because that gives us a little more time, and it does give us time to bring somebody else on, but okay. Other discussions or reflections on, I mean, Brooks, you joined us in the middle of the year too, so your input on any other topic that's not in the work plan is also welcome. Yes.
I remember looking through this, it was comprehensive, particularly given that we're somewhat short-staffed at the commission. So no additions from my perspective.
None, just, Brooks is also, Commissioner Esser is also very critical and very important to this commission as well. So I think, given that we wanna have a great 2026 moving forward, and I'm not gonna say it's in the interest of the best of interest to get the two more, but I would hope that in the new year, whether January or February,
Yeah,
that you do have a full 5.
well, that might be another option too, that if we know, and if in December, it sounds like we get any.
A fourth, maybe?
appointments, a fourth, or possibly, but that we might even consider, how much advance notice do you need to put it on the board's agenda?
3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, ideally.
3 to 4.
Okay,
So December for January.
yeah,
And there's a new rule where it's presentation like this, it's 5 minutes. So just a heads up.
cool. 3 slides, done.
You can have 10 slides and knock each one out in 30 seconds. But no, it's just giving you a heads up that that's something that the county's been trying to stick to.
Yeah, okay. Great, all right. There's no further input from commissioners or staff. We'll go ahead and open up for public comment.
Opening up for public comment. No speaker slips and no hands raised in Zoom.
Let me find our agenda again. Okay, so that brings us to the next item, which is 7.1, update on commissioner vacancies. Do we have any news?
Update is for District 1 vacancy. Supervisor Spear has interviewed candidates, but an appointment has not been chosen yet for the vacancy. District 2, the applications are due November 28th. So we still have a few more weeks to go there.
And I have meetings with all the supervisors coming up, so I will put a plug in during our upcoming conversations.
Thank you.
Good. District 1 has reopened the application process, so they have their core candidates. Supervisor Spear just needs to pick one at this
Been a
point.
little distracted.
Yeah, she has.
I don't know why. Will there be any public comment on the item 7.1?
No speaker slip and no hands raised in Zoom.
This is our commissioner, item 8.1 is commissioner updates and informal reports out. Again, any experiences that you want to relate or discuss with respect to county parks?
Sure, my tour of the parks continues, and I was up at the trailhead. I don't know if you call it the trailhead, but what is the parking area for Sawyer Camp Road on a Sunday morning?
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty dangerous and scary up there. I mean,
Oh.
I'm sure you guys are all aware of this, but there's an overpass there, cars park on, I think it's Hillcrest Boulevard that goes under the overpass. It leads to the trailhead.
Very familiar with that.
And I what to do about that. I just, there are cars parked on Hillcrest, they're parked on the kind of the frontage road that parallels 280, probably 30 cars up there, maybe
Wow.
35 on a Sunday morning. Building parking up there is probably out of the question, but it could be a hazard. Because we do have, in fact, there's an off-ramp right at the trailhead. And cars park all the way up to that off-ramp, so it blocks the view of people that are walking, if cars are coming off, and it just looks a little dangerous to me. So I don't know what we do, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
That actually might be an item for future agenda, because I was going to also ask about parking at Wonderlit Park. Very small parking lot. There's a lot of use there. And I wasn't clear if the people who board their horses there also share the parking lot for those who want to use the recreational trails. Because I tried to go hiking there and it was not a good experience, but we ended up going to Hutter, which has lovely parking and lovely facilities and was a beautiful hike.
Good.
So maybe we need to have a parking discussion at a future
We can
date.
do that.
Any other experiences?
Nothing for me, no.
Sam?
San Andreas Trail, which I happen to be a visitor of at least once a week, doing a nice, really nice hike. And you start at San Bruno where Lenardi's is, and it can go into, then once you hit the end of it, you're in Millbrae, and then it cuts all the way into Burlingame. So those are recommended hikes if you want to get an hour of exercise. But I still see a lot of dogs. I see a lot of dog junk on the ground, and I don't want to get in an altercation with, and it's sometimes some people I know that are bringing their dogs. And, and the few people that I have seen that I have recognized, I said, they're just to let you know, there is a sign right as you walk into right where the entrance of where San Bruno is, it says no pets allowed, and they'll say we didn't know, and but it does, because a lot of folks use it with their families, with their small children, and I think having been on commission and doing at least once a week, I would say there's a lot of seniors. That's pretty much your demographics: couples, seniors, families who often are up there, whether it's a walking club, whether it's a family, so it doesn't look, it's not you know, the bathrooms, everything's done. The rangers are great there. It's just, the dogs that do come up there make a lot of mess and it stays there. And maybe there needs to be a sign that big as a wall that says no dogs allowed.
Isn't it also on the pavement? You know, Commissioner, I appreciate the feedback that we can talk to staff about that. You know, I know we have a lot of signage out there. It's also been spray painted on the trail. Sometimes it's not a matter of lack of signage, it's a matter of lack of wanting to comply with the rules.
I think it's number 2 versus number 1.
And certainly at that trail, that's what most of our experiences are. It's hard to argue that you don't know that dogs aren't allowed there with the amount of signage. And if we put more signage up, then you really start polluting the view corridor. If you're out there and you do see that though, you know, you can always call the main number at Coyote Point and they'll dispatch someone. We get those calls
All the time.
all day long. And we'll continue to do outreach and education. But again, at that location, I do think it's more of a lack of willingness to comply with the rules.
Yeah, and if that situation does happen, have our number, call us, let us make the contact, because many of those people that have dogs out there have had many contacts from the public and they've gone sideways and these people just keep
I've
doing
seen it.
So
I've
yeah.
seen it up front and.
So let us handle it, and sooner you let us know, we can get somebody out there, we'll
Yeah.
cut them aside.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll learn.
Well, I will put a plug in or at least a thank you for the trail where dogs are allowed, the Lamar Redwoods, which is not all that long, but is enough for you to get your dog out and run up the side of the hill, then run back down and run to the end and run back. And
I think they just put a new dog station in for you out there too, that's got bags and a trash receptacle, so.
there you go. So even
There you
better.
go.
So do appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I'm not a commissioner, but I would like to put an update out there since we don't have an item on the agenda for updates. So just want to inform everyone that on Saturday, between 8 and noon-ish, Sage Bakery from Montero. So 8 to noon, 8 to 1, I think a lot of it's gonna depend on the traffic, but foot traffic, but Sage Bakery from Montero will be out at the southern trailhead of Sawyer Camp Trail, serving coffee, other hot beverages, pastries, cookies. They make these really, they look amazing. I can't wait to get one. Australian, New Zealand pies. So they'll be out there serving food and drinks. This is something that Supervisor Spearhead had asked the department to explore and see if there's a way to continue to just provide new services and opportunities. And so we were able to put something together. And so we're very excited. Sage Bakery is a local bakery in Montero on the coast, great reputation, and we're very excited. So they'll be there on this Saturday, the 8th. They will also be there on Saturday, the 15th. We'll see what the public reception is and we'll decide, the next steps from there. And if it's a hit, then we'll keep it rolling.
Excellent. I did see that in the Parks Foundation news to be lettered. Great. Other updates from commissioners? Staff? Any public comment on items we've addressed?
No speaker slips and no hands raised in Zoom.
So we do have a list of items for a future agenda. We've just noted that we will also add discussions about parking and probably revisit items around the dog policies. Just for discussion. But thank you, Scott, for the tips on how to manage those
Let
interactions.
us know, please.
And any other further comments for items for future agenda?
I have just one real quick one. I know we have one more meeting for the end of 2025, but I think I've got I'm not doing any self-deprecation or any ad nauseum, but I think given that we've been on a minimal commission and just bare quorum. I think we've done a really good job in this capacity that we're in.
I agree. We'll work that into.
So bravo to you, bravo to Commissioner
Thank
Hess.
you all for showing up. It helps. Keep things on track.
And it makes staff happy.
Yeah, I have to agree. I appreciate everything that the three of you have done, and you've been doing a remarkable job. And yes, I do appreciate that you all showed up to this. I have a little bit of a problem if you didn't, so.
Any call for public comment on item 9? Any requests for items for a future agenda from the public?
No speaker slips and no hands raised in Zoom.
With that, then we will adjourn. 5:06. See, we don't even have to make the sheriff's deputies